Okay, in this video I am going to be doing a review of my new Kensington Orbit trackball. I'm going to be comparing it to my original Kensington Orbit trackball. This is an older trackball. This is circa 1998, so it's 20 years old. And this is the new one that I got. I'm doing this video because on YouTube I could not find very many videos talking about or even showing this particular trackball. A lot of people have bought the Kensington Orbit trackball with scroll ring that has a scroll ring, so that you, instead of a scroll wheel, it has a scroll ring. This one just has 2 buttons and no scroll ring. Although I'm going to show you that you don't need a scroll ring. You don't need a scroll wheel. You don't even need a middle mouse button. And you can get all the functionality that you need out of this device. I feel this trackball gets overlooked and gets a bad rap, and the reviews, a lot of the reviews on it are unfair if you go to Amazon or other places like Newegg. You know, that some of the reviews on it are just the main complaint is, oh, it doesn't have a scroll wheel or a scroll ring, you know, like the other one does, and it doesn't have a middle mouse button or something like that. And mainly it's the scroll ring or the scroll wheel, the lack of a scroll wheel, and you don't really need it. And I'm going to show you a free, nice little program that does an awesome job. It allows you to hold down the left and right mouse button and use the ball as your scroll. But you can also scroll left and right, not just up and down. The scroll ring is only going to scroll up and down. So, and I don't particularly like the Kensington. From what I understand, I haven't tried it out. Kensington has a free little program called MouseWorks. I think that's the name of it. And it says, you know, you click the 2 buttons and then you scroll, and then you got to click the 2 buttons again to get out of the scroll mode. And to me, that's insane. That's a pain in the butt. I'd rather just hold the 2 buttons down, do my scrolling, let go, and then continue on my work, which is how I got this one to work. You know, and the same program works on this and works on that. You know, and actually, you can take your regular mouse, and because it doesn't care what the input is, it's because the program was specifically designed for mice, but it works with the Kensington. If I want to scroll with this, I can just hold these 2 buttons down and move the mouse scrolled up and down, left and right, without having to touch the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel is usually the first thing that goes out on mice, because they're just not designed very well. They're usually mechanical. Okay, so what's the difference between the old one? If I was so happy with the old one, why did I get the new one? Okay, well, this old one is a mechanical mouse or trackball. It's not, you know, this one uses a laser, to track the movement of the ball. This one has 2 little scroll rods, or I don't know, pins, or whatever you want to call it, rollers, that are real skinny like this, actually much smaller than this. And when the ball rolls this way, this one rolls, and when the ball rolls left and right, this one rolls. It rolls this one, and then when you roll it on an angle, they both roll, and it calculates out. That's how old mechanical mice used to work. So this is just like an old mechanical mouse. And the drawback to old mechanical mice is that they get dirty. They get dirty a lot. You know, a little bit of fluff or lint or something gets on here, or a crumb from what you were eating or whatever, and you roll it, and then it gets stuck between the ball and the roller. You know, it just gets stuck, and then it won't roll. It's kind of like getting something stuck underneath your shopping cart wheel when you're at the supermarket, and you're like, how did that little tiny thing stop that wheel from spinning? You know, once you realize it was just this little tiny popsicle stick or something. You know. Okay, so that was the problem with this. I had to either, hopefully, you know, you would try to get it unstuck by spinning it real fast in all directions and going like this to try to dislodge it. or you would actually have to pop the ball out. Now the ball is actually in there. You can flip it upside down and it's not going to pop out. You had to push that little tab, this little tab here, to pop the ball out. But when you do that, you usually end up clicking one of these buttons. So it was a very pain in the butt to clean, you know. Okay, so the other difference is the balls are the same size. This ball is actually heavier than this ball, which is good and bad. That means it had more inertia. It will have more inertia when you do spin it to go a long distance. But it also meant your fingers were working a little bit harder. This being a much lighter, it's a feather light ball almost, it takes less effort to actually move it. But like I said, the ball, there's nothing holding it in. Although in regular use, nothing's ever going to fall out unless you try to spin it at 1,000,000 miles an hour by like flicking it with your thumb really fast or something like that. So the other benefits is that the buttons here are a little bit wider. Let me get that away. The buttons here are a little bit wider, means you got a little bit more relaxed position of your hands. This one right here, the buttons are a little bit narrower, so your hands are more like this all the time, which is not bad, but it's a little bit more relaxed here. A little more relaxed feeling with this one. The plastic on this is a lot thicker, probably a lot tougher than this, although this is adequate. The buttons are fairly well worn on here. I mean, though, they work just perfectly. The buttons are a little bit lighter and a little bit more responsive. The cord on this is thicker than on here. So this probably won't last 20 years. This has lasted 20 years. But not having to clean it a couple times a day, this is definitely a big step up, having a little bit more of a wider stance with the fingers, with the buttons, so that your hand can be a little bit more relaxed, is also really good. So definitely, this was definitely a step up. I wish they had made it with a little bit better plastic, a little bit thicker plastic, a little bit thicker cord would have been nice. But this will probably at least last 5 years, 5, 6 years, maybe 7 years with no problem. Maybe even 10 years with no problem. Like I said, this 20 years old. I don't know how much it was, because I bought it at a thrift store. I don't know how much it was used. When I took it apart, there was a good amount of buildup on the roller. Usually there'll be like a line that builds up of just oil and dirt that is rubbed off your hand onto the ball and onto here. Same thing would happen with an old mouse. Then this is a Wacom tablet mouse. I'll do the Wacom tablet in another video. So I'm going to switch to the computer now, and I'm going to show you this free little program that will allow you to hold the left and right mouse button, and this becomes a beautiful scroll. Much better scroll, much smoother scroll than probably the Scrollring, and definitely a much smoother and faster scroll than a mouse with a scroll wheel on it. And yes, so I'm going to switch to that program now. I'm going to start it up, and at this point, and go over the program. Okay, so here we are in the computer, and I'm using the brand new, this one, Kensington Trackball, or Trackball, to move around with. I can go from this corner up to the top corner in just a flick. You know, and you get used to it. Supposedly, after you use it for a while, you get used to just doing a little flick, and it's wherever you want it to go. Just a little flick with your finger, and you start to do it subconsciously. I've only been using it for 2 weeks. If I'd been using it for 20 years, I could probably flick it all over the screen and have it land exactly where I want it to go. Okay. So this is the one I have. This is the other one I was talking about. This is that ring, that scroll ring. It also has just 2 buttons. It has the exact same size ball on top, and it's pretty much the same width as the other one. It does come with a little extra rest pad. I don't know how padded it is. Like here's the pad. It does come with that, I believe. Like, see, there's the pad. So it looks like it comes with it. It looks like it's just a hollow shell. It's not like a super soft pad, as far as I can tell. There it is again. It's just like an extension if you feel like you want to have a little extra on there. Let's see. Okay. So, this is the one that gets all the rave reviews. You know, that all the trackball experts, supposedly bloggers, are like, you know, for the best trackball you can get at the cheapest price, this is absolutely fantastic, blah, 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 accurate, blah, 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 you know, and you get a scroll wheel, or a scroll ring, and then they look at this one and they go, it doesn't have scroll ring, it's a piece of crap. And it's like, actually, I'm sure these have the same optical tracking in both. This just doesn't have a scroll ring, but no big deal, you know, no big deal. And I can, if I'm holding down the two buttons with my right hand, if I just want to use it like, and my left hand, I just flick that sucker all the way up to the top. You know, if I didn't feel like using my finger to, you know, go all the way back up. So sometimes that can come in very handy, like, let's see. Okay. Okay, so here we are. This is the Constitution of the United States. I just copied and pasted it because I needed something of a document that was really long, and not only did it have a scroll up and down, but it has a scroll left and right. And you can see, holding both buttons down, you can scroll left and right, and you can scroll up and down. And if I want to get down to the bottom really fast, there we go. Down 716 lines. Hold down both mouse buttons with my right hand, take my left hand, and just flick it up. You know, flick it up, and you're there. Try to do that with the mouse wheel. Here's the mouse wheel. That's your typical scrolling down, scroll, 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 and you can't scroll to the left. You have to come down here and move that. And that's what this track ring would do. Okay, so how did I get that functionality, that free that program? Okay, so let me open it up. Okay, so it's called X Mouse Control. Okay, and usually it starts off with just the default. These are programs that I've added because I want the right mouse buttons to do, in combination, to do something different depending on the program that I'm working in. And so, by default, I have it so that when you press the left and right mouse button, it becomes a scroll. Okay, so by default, if the program isn't listed here, if I hold down the left and right mouse button, it turns into a scroll. Okay, so I will quickly demonstrate how to program this little program. So let me remove Notepad. Okay, so say I want to add Notepad++. Click the button Add, and usually you can find the program in here, and I know it is actually in here. There it is. And I can just click on that, and then away we go. But if you can't find it in here, all you have to do is, well, first you need to find out where the exe file is. So here's my shortcut for Notepad++. There's the shortcut. Right, let's click Properties. Here it is up here. You don't want the exe part. You just want the backslash right before the exe, and then you want to highlight without the. You don't want that little quote mark there. Control-C to copy it. Okay, then you click there, and then it will open that up, and you can just paste it and hit Enter. I happen to have it already. It didn't change because I had it already. Well, let's see. Let's change it there. Okay. Control-V, paste. But there it is. And you can either double-click on it and click Open, or double-click on it or click on it and click Open. Now here we're going to give it its name. Notepad++. And that's just going to be the name that appears over here. Okay, so these are right now in all the default. It's not going to do anything. It's just like it's a regular, like this program isn't set up yet. So no change, nothing. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make the left mouse button, you click here, and you want to make it a button chording. And the button chording is kind of like a chord on the piano, playing a chord on the piano. Chord on the piano is when you press at least three keys at the same time. Two keys on a piano is called harmony, not a chord. But anyway, this is called chording. It means you're pressing more than one button on your mouse. But in this case, we're only going to press two buttons, which would be a harmony. Okay, that's enough music theory. They just call it chording. Okay, so so you click chording, and this new window pops up. Okay, and we're going to name this. You can name it anything you want. It doesn't matter. We're going to call this scrolling. Scrolling with left then right mouse button. Okay, it doesn't matter what you name this. This is just so that you have an idea what it is. Okay, so then you come down to the right button, because this is for the left button. You come down to the right button and you click on it, and we're going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, we're going to scroll down. Or I can do this. I think I went too far. There it is. Change movement to scroll. And you can just click OK for the default. And now what that means is that when I move the ball, that's going to be the scroll wheel. Just like, or basically when you move the mouse forward and back, it scrolls it up and down. Move the mouse left and right, it would scroll left and right. But you're actually physically moving the mouse, not the scroll wheel. So anyway, so you've got that, and then you click OK, and then you click Apply. And then if we come back in here into, I'm holding down the left and then right mouse button. Left, right, and then I can scroll using the mouse. I'm using the ball itself. Now, if I hold the right button and then the left button, it doesn't work because I didn't program that in. I could make that do something different. I could, I could make that combination do something different. So we did the left button chorded. We can make the right button chorded. So that when we press the right button down first, so we'll call this scrolling with right, then left button, and then you go to the left button, because this is the right button, go down the left button, and let's scroll down a little bit, there it is, change movement to scroll. Now you can make this anything you want, any of these things in here, so that it would do that. So if I wanted to be a middle click instead of a scroll, I could click this and say, now click that and say, okay, and now that would be a middle click instead of a scroll. Even though I named it scroll, this name doesn't matter. You can make it a middle click. So left, right, scroll, right, left, middle click. But I like just having it, where is it? I like it to where it's change movement to scroll on both. Change movement to scroll on both, because that way it doesn't matter which one I push down first. Right, left, scroll, left, right, scroll. So I don't even have to think about it. I just push both of them down at the same time. Just going, and it's going to go into the scroll. So, so that's one of the big benefits of this little program. It's, like I said, there's a free program. I think you can donate to them. It's an absolutely free program. You can set it up. They have different layers. I don't know how you switch between the layers yet. I haven't figured that out. I haven't looked into it. Because just having one layer, doing what I want. So it's like, you can have this, have it do something completely different. The left and right mouse buttons. If you could switch between layers, you could just change the left mouse button to automatically go into scroll without having to hold down the second button. If you can switch between these two layers. But I don't know how you switch between the two layers yet. I haven't looked into that. And then you have this scrolling, or you have these options. Now this is the speed of the mouse. before I found this little program, I figured out my speed. Control panel, went to mouse. Let me close this down, don't need it. Went to mouse, went to pointer options, and this is the speed of the mouse. And I have it set to pretty fast. No, I think default is right there in the middle. So I set it to be faster. The slower it is, the more precise, because that means the farther you have to move the mouse to move the actual cursor. So if you need. So anyway, so I have it set fairly fast. And I should have said cancel that way. But anyway, so say in Notepad, say I didn't want it to move it that fast, or in one of the other programs like Maya that I use. Say I don't want this to be moved quite that fast. I could sit there and go override mouse speed and set it to a slower speed, so that when I'm in that program, the mouse ball, when I move it, doesn't move the cursor quite so far, if I really needed precision. But so far I haven't needed that, even though I do quite precise work in Maya. So this little program here is just absolutely wonderful. You can set this different things. You can increase or decrease your mouse wheel. If you do have a regular mouse, you can increase your wheel for that particular program if you want. So anyway, so this program is absolutely awesome, and it's free. And so, okay, and I'm on Windows 7, and I think it does work with Windows 10, no problem. Okay, so that's this program. Let's see. Okay. So, let's see, what was I going to say? Okay, so here, let's find, that's not what I wanted. These are the different ones. I was going to find, what did I want to find? I wanted to find one that just, okay, let's just look up Kensington Trackball. Because there's other ones out there. Okay. So these trackballs here, these are also made by Kensington. The balls are actually much larger. They're actually much, much larger. Let's see if I can find a picture of all of them. Okay, like there's a picture of them all. This ball is considerably bigger than these two, but it also takes up more room here. And on all the reviews, that's a picture of it there. You can see next to their hand, it's a pretty big ball. I had another picture that was better than that one. Let's see. Well, I guess maybe it is this one. Anyway, the ball being so much bigger, all the reviews say, if you want really great precision and you need it for your job, get the big ball, get the Expert, the Kensington Expert. Get this one, Kensington Expert, or the Slim Blade. These two are both Kensington Experts. This is just wireless and this is wired. They say to get these. I'm telling you, I've been a graphic designer. You don't need that big of a ball. This one right here works just fine, and the precision is just fine. Okay, so let's switch to Maya. Okay, get rid of that. That's something I was working on. Okay, so the precision is just fine. Oops. I can hold both mouse buttons down. This is where I have the middle mouse button set for the two. Holding down the left and right, and holding down the Alt key, I can pan. Left is, and Alt is just rotate and in and out. And if I want to create a sphere, and then go into vertex mode, You know, I have all the precision I need to click on these little tiny vertices. You know, I have all the precision I need with the trackball. So, precision, it's just fine, you know. And I'm employed in one of those jobs that they say you should get the expert. But the expert, you can see, is not cheap. This is Newegg, $63. That's actually a pretty good price. Most of the time it's $125. You know, it's 119. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good price right there. Let's see, 64 K 64 325. K 64 325. So right now, Newegg, that's a good price. You can see these are well over $100 or close to $100. This was $25, and it's usually around $25. This one is usually around $35. It's usually $10 more. All you get is the ring, so I opted for this one. So yeah, so that's about it. The trackball works absolutely awesome. And yeah, that's about it. And I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've gotten some useful information out of it. And thank you. Have a great day.